Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside participating in my weighted walking, right? Otherwise known as rucking, right? I do walk regularly. In fact, I wasn't even really thinking about my daily walks as exercise. It was more just something that we did to get the dog out. Hey, can't leave the dog in the house all day without a walk, so let's get some exercise and for him, right? And then we realized that yeah, it improves the quality of his life. And while we're doing it, yeah, it's definitely affecting the quality of our life. And so while I was making considerations around, weather preparedness and the act of actually spending that much time outside, 20 minutes to a half hour, 45 minutes, it also gave me opportunity to consider how I walk. So choice of terrain, huge factor. When timing doesn't allow, then I can still get different benefits, more benefits by choosing the terrain and the path. And if I've got the time, obviously, those benefits come later. So the act of walking has so many of its benefits. It's accessible, requires the time, but making small changes to the way you walk. So for me, if I can, I've got a big open path like this, yeah, I'll engage in some backward walking, right? What the backward walking does is it actually uses very different muscle groups. But more importantly, it's also doing things to my brain, all right? So just a different way to engage. So the act of walking backwards, as long as you can do so safely, has added benefits. Now, doing some interval walking 3 minutes at a slower pace, increasing the intensity and the pace, the rate of your steps for another 3 minutes, and doing that cycle 3 slow, 3 fast, doing it 5 cycles, interval walking, right? Engaging cardiovascular, engaging different muscle groups, but adding weight. That's where I'm actually strengthening. And it's more than just about my muscles. So there's the cardiovascular aspect. I do need to breathe a little heavier, right? Just the act of exercise. I'm not putting this down. It's there. It's constant from the moment I'm in the house, just, getting out of the house. I'm like, oh, I feel that, right? But it's more than just the muscles in my legs. It's also my bone density, right? This quarter of my body weight that I'm wearing does impact my joints, does affect my posture. So rucking is more than just training, right? I'm already out for the walk anyway. What's one little thing I can do to increase the benefits of the exercise I'm already doing? Well, let's add some weight, right? Now, I just gave you a number that this vest is about, quarter of my overall body weight. That's not how you start. No, start with a backpack, a little bit of weight, rucking. That might just be your water bottle, right? Might just be, well, if you're going to carry a water bottle and you're out for 20 minutes to a half hour, and especially if you're out in nature, maybe that includes a snack, even includes some other resources and items just in case, right? So considering weather, maybe you throw in the raincoat, toque, gloves, if it's getting cooler out. Maybe it's first aid kit, right? Other things like that. Maybe some navigational tools. So, all of a sudden that 1 liter of water, in the backpack starts to go from 1 pound to 2 pounds to 3 pounds. And all of a sudden, you might need to increase the size of your pack. So wearing the backpack just changes your balance, right? And it also adds a stress. And depending on your comfort level and experience wearing a weighted backpack, right? You can either find yourself hunched forward or getting pulled back. So wearing the weighted vest, it just seems, for me anyway, to be a much more comfortable option. I own a lot of backpacks and I certainly have enough gear to fill them and add the weight rather than just, what some people do. And they throw a plate in or they throw some rocks or some wood or whatever, but that's one way to do it. But just getting into the habit of thinking about those things you might need on what you might call a day trip. If you are an avid hiker, which I am, you can't leave the house, empty pocketed, empty handed, empty packed. You've got to bring some resources, right? Sometimes, if you're walking with a family, you need to pack some extra resources and stuff for them. But walking with a weighted vest is an entirely different exercise altogether. It is strengthening the muscles in my legs, my quads, my calves, my hams, my glutes, but it's also adding the potential for increasing my bone density. It's also increasing the impact on my joints, which is why walking is the great way to do it. Right? So carrying the weighted vest is just, again, the weight coming from my shoulders, which is affecting my posture. So again, focusing on having that good form, that good posture, much easier to do with weighted vest than it would be if I had, I can't imagine carrying 40 pounds on a backpack just straight back. I'd want to be able to balance that out just for my own posture, which would add to, the enjoyment and the longevity of participating in that exercise. So the weighted vest does have an investment, and does it have other uses? No, other than a great doorstop. Yeah. So it is a little singular use, which is something I'm not really in the habit of. I like to have things in my life that have more than one purpose. But for me, it was a choice to invest in because I did try the alternative and it just wasn't as pleasurable, and I just didn't have the need for the benefits. Once I moved to the weighted vest, it was something I had people in my life use, and they recommended it, so gave it a try. And now I've introduced the concept and introduced the product to other people. And again, there are so many options in the market, and you can get into some really stylish stuff. In fact, there are people who participate in wearing weighted vests throughout their entire day. Obviously not to the same weight, but just wearing a weighted vest, it might be 5 pounds, 10 pounds, maybe even 15 pounds throughout your regular work day when you're in the office, whether you're out and about, right? It's pretty low key. They can be quite stylish. They look like a vest and just a little bit of weight sewn into the fabric overall, kind of like a weighted blanket, if you would, right? There are some benefits and some increases in your gains. So walking, amazing benefits cardiovascularly, your muscle mobility, and improves your quality of life. It's already affecting your metabolism, and depending on when you do it, for how long, right? It affects your metabolism. It affects your digestion. But then doing it in nature, any exercise in nature, that's been proven to add 20% gains. And not only to the physical aspect of it, but the cognitive ability to be engaged, some sensory work, right? Just noticing, being active and engaged, using both hemispheres as you navigate the natural world, has a different mental and emotional as well as physical state, right? The choice of terrain is definitely going to require some engagement of smaller muscle groups, right? Engaging those small stabilizer muscles in your ankles, your knees, and your hips. And that's going to affect your posture, might affect your pace. But adding the weight to that, again, just another way to add gains, another way to add gains. I'm already out for a walk. I know how to use terrain. I know the benefits of walking in nature. And I'm out here doing exercise anyway. And this is actually just helping with the efficiency and the planning for the rest of my day. If improving the quality of life through exercise and strength training is already something I'm considering with my life, to carve out that half hour, maybe an hour of working with weights might be a little challenging as a parent, full-time employee manager, and then someone who also has two jobs, two other companies, businesses that I manage. So just the administrative responsibilities of those, and then the commitments on the weekend to pursue those other businesses that I operate. It's just hard to fit it all in. So I've already committed the time to walking the dog twice a day. Am I always the one to walk him twice a day? No, but I'm pretty consistent, right? It's at least one, unless of course work between the other things that I do has me away from home. And I can trust that the other members of my family will commit to his overall health. I'm out here walking the dog pretty consistently, once, 80% of the time throughout the year. It's twice a day. I've already committed to that. I've committed to my health. Things like diet and sleep and stress management. This is just one more way that I can be efficient, use my time, use my energy, adding a little bit of weight, using terrain, in space and experience to add interval walking and backward walking to my existing walking routine. So walking in and of itself, amazing exercise. Do it on a treadmill, do it down the block, try to get those steps in. Walking in nature, increased benefits. Changing the way you walk with interval walking, backward walking, increased benefits. Add weight, again, increased benefits. It's all about my longevity. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to doing this well into my 60s, 70s, God willing, into my 80s and 90s. And training while I walk, strength training, endurance training. Not only my muscles, my joints, my bones, my mind. It's all part. The things I'm doing today, the hard work I'm investing in today, is going to be something I'm going to appreciate later in life. Probably tomorrow. So if you can, consider starting with a little bit of weight in a backpack. And the vest is an investment. Start slow. It'll change your life. I appreciate you. Thanks for taking time to walk. Thanks for taking time to watch. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.